Hello and welcome to the Stories of Northern Life from the Sault Ste. Marie Museum. As we wrap up the last few days of 2022, we reflect on the year. We are going to talk about historic moments globally, nationally, locally, as well as what we accomplished here at the Sault Ste. Marie Museum. Let's start with the global moments that have affected us all the way in Sault Ste. Marie. The world population exceeds 8 billion people. COVID has still been in all of our lives this year, but we have watched it ease. Inflation surges around the world. Ukraine is in an armed conflict with Russia. There are Ukrainian protests for women's rights. Climate change comes to the forefront as a major issue for current and future generations. The world experienced record-breaking heat waves, floods, and droughts. But at the end of December, a new ban was placed on manufacturing and importing single-use plastics in Canada. Queen Elizabeth passed away, and we reflected on her visit to Sault Ste. Marie. In February, the Winter Olympics in Beijing happened, and we cheered on Canada, as well as other fellow countries. We watched Canada score its first goal ever on the FIFA World Cup field. The first successful heart transplant from a pig to a human patient occurred in Maryland. In March, researchers in the Antarctic find Endurance, one of the greatest ever undiscovered shipwrecks, which sank in 1915 during Ernest Shackleton's exploration. In September, NASA's DART crashes into the asteroid Dimorphos in a first test of potential planetary defense. NASA also launches Artemis 1, the first uncrewed launch of its Space Launch System, the most powerful rocket ever launched into orbit. The onboard Orion capsule orbited the moon before returning to Earth as a demonstration of planned human missions. The first known dinosaur fossil linked to the very day of the Chicxulub impact is reported by paleontologists. Canada and Denmark end their competing claims for Hans Island by dividing the island roughly in half, ending what is referred to as the Whiskey War. At the UN Biodiversity Conference, COP15, nearly 200 countries agreed a landmark deal to protect a third of the planet for nature by 2030. But even in our city, we had lots of big strides and historic events. It was a municipal election year, and now we have a new mayor, Matthew Shoemaker. Flags of Bangladesh, Jamaica, Pakistan, and the Philippines were added to the flag gallery outside of Sault City Hall. The trans flag is now also hanging at City Hall beside the Canada and the Ontario flag. We got to experience the return of many of our celebrations and ceremonies to in-person events like Rotary Fest, Santa Claus Parade, Remembrance Day ceremonies. The new Xinhua Kinanaming Gaming Center opened in September this year. We also recognized Truth and Reconciliation Day for the second year, and the city celebrated proudly with drone shows and more. The Electra Marconi Society celebrated their 90th anniversary. The city became a regional hub for Ontario's Culture Day events. Algoma U had their first TEDx event. We once again have a tour boat called Miss Marie, docked at Roberta Bonder Pavilion. Over 2,000 people attended the tree light ceremony at Moonlight Magic this year. We love seeing all the Christmas cheer. The Old Stone House launched their Story Steeped in Stone project. And cruise ships returned to the Great Lakes, stopping by our lovely city. And our downtown core is now covered in murals. We got some really beautiful new ones this year for the Summer Moon Festival. Now I'm definitely missing a bunch of awesome events and big historic stories that will be on display at the museum in the next 30 years. But now let's talk about the museum itself. We started off the year closed throughout January due to COVID, but we opened back up, seeing our front doors open to the public for the first time in over 2 years. It was awesome to see. We continued to repackage our city's history and present it to you in whatever format you could reach. Our Instagram has reached over 2,300 followers, and Facebook reaching 3,200 followers, increasing our following by over 650 people from last year. We thank you all for following us and our mission. We've been posting an episode a week for nearly an entire year, creating over 60 minutes of audio content for the Stories of Northern Life podcast. We've reached listeners in the US, Germany, Spain, Australia, Puerto Rico, Portugal, Mexico, Colombia, Grenada, Netherlands, Italy, Ireland, India, and the Dominican Republic. Wild! We also keep our blog page called Museum Musings on our website updated with more and more history-filled blog entries. We purchased new digitalization equipment that will allow us to continue to preserve and share footage from our past. I'm so excited to get my hands on that in the new year. We have held so many events. 5 paint nights, 3 trivia nights, a Star Wars Lego party with the brick space, a Prohibition-themed event, gardening workshops, and we were the host for Fringe Fest. We launched our Community Threads project, hosting 10 workshops with partners like Thrive Tours, the Art Speaks Project, Lucia LaFord, and the Algoma Weavers Guild, which will wrap up in the new year. We started a French conversation circle with more of that in the new year. And with the Art Speaks project, we put together 8 sessions of a project called Artifacts, along with the Algoma University Student Union. We also started with Art Speaks, a bad art club, encouraging the community to simply create. We participated in Pride Fest, the DTA Street Party, with the McLeod Highland Dance Studio dancing outside our steps. Culture Days, Doors Open, returning for the first time in many years. Halloween on Queen, Moonlight Magic, Summer Moon Festival, Coldest Night of the Year, and I'm probably forgetting some. It was so amazing to see so many smiling faces come by this year. Our second artist in residency, Ray Fox, joined us at the museum, and soon you'll get a special podcast episode with him in the new year. We also gained a partnership with the Algoma Art Society. They host all their monthly meetings here and have art shows and sales, as well as sell a different member's work each month in our gift shop. So definitely come by and support a local artist while buying a print or two. We also have new partnerships planned with Harp and Petit Noupitals in the new year. Now, our museums, galleries, and spaces have had some updates and new exciting things come in and out of them. Our military gallery completed its renovations and updates. It's now home to many new artifacts and has a more modern, updated feel to the space. We currently have a traveling exhibit that came from Nipissing University, Nipissing First Nations, and the North Bay Museum, called Our Guides Are Really Going Places, and the Nipissing Beading Project. Unfortunately, it will be packed up and on its way to a new museum in the new year, but don't worry, our next exhibit is currently in development and is ready to launch this coming winter. We had our first in-person school field trip at the museum in over 2 years. We are looking forward to our upcoming field trip scheduled in the new year. We also created a forestry-based education kit for school classrooms to provide an educational curriculum-based interactive learning in schools within the Algoma district. We also updated our artifact and scavenger activity sheet to keep our young visitors engaged and learning, as well as added some interactive features back into the museum, like QR codes and hands-on things. And lastly, the Legion moved and is now storing all of their items and artifacts until their new building is complete. And we've been hard at work with the amalgamation of collection databases between the Legion, Armory, and the Sault Ste. Marie Museum. This upcoming 2023 season marks an important milestone for the Sault Ste. Marie Museum. The museum will celebrate its 40th anniversary at 69 Queen Street East, also historically known as the Old Post Office or the Dominion Building. The museum is gearing up for a unique and exciting anniversary year of featured events, exhibits, and programming. 2022 was undoubtedly a difficult year for many, but it was also a time of growth and change. We showed our resilience and strength in the face of adversity and proved that we can work together to build a better future. Let's celebrate this year and welcome the new one ahead. Thank you so much for listening to the Stories of Northern Life and being a part of our history. I'll talk to you again next week. Bye.